Hello there, welcome to Connections with Kenyatta Collins. Today's episode is both entertaining and enlightening, so prepare to laugh and learn. In celebration of Women's Month, I spoke with this history-making judge, see where her judicial career is headed. And this violent epidemic has plagued our community for decades. See what's being done to defeat this destructive enemy. That and more when we return from the break. You're watching Connections with Kenyatta Collins.
Hi, this is Fred Jeff Smith, pastor of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. Shiloh is a traditional church with the timeless message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. But that doesn't mean that we don't have something that will entice and intrigue you. We have a wonderful music ministry. We have wonderful children's ministries. We have a fabulous Christian education ministry. We're reaching out to you, inviting you to come and be a part of the Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. We want you to come and check us out. You'll be glad that you did.
Hi, my name is Rosalyn Whitley and I'm the owner of Youth Empowerment Solutions. Youth Empowerment Solutions is a crisis center and behavioral health agency. At Youth Empowerment Solutions, we believe in offering solutions to help empower our youth. So we do that by providing these specific services. We have individual counseling, family counseling, crisis management, medication management, and we also offer CSOC services. Please feel free to contact us by phone at 225-223-6153, or you can email us at admin, that's ADMIN, at YESBHS.com. Here at Youth Empowerment Solutions, we believe in transforming lives by offering solutions to help empower our youth. So please give us a call.
With the rise of racism and peace being taken from the world, it leaves a person to wonder, what's going on in the world? Sadly, these things are not going away. Read The Dog Whistleblower to find the link between racism and the coming Armageddon.
Hello, I'm Pastor Leo D. Cyrus, inviting you to share with us in our worship service. New Hope continues to do God's work in our community through weekly worship services and Bible studies. Our ministry has several outreach programs that serve the people of our community. Come be a part of our church family. We'd love to have you.
It's an ugly truth that permeates our community, domestic violence. And in this next story, we look at the startling statistics and the measures being taken to counter and end this horrible cycle.
I felt his hand across my face.
It's a crime that many fall victim to, domestic violence. According to the National Coalition of Domestic Violence, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience some form of physical abuse.
And I was in total disbelief, total shock, didn't know where it had come from. And I turned to him and the question out of my mouth was, why did you do that? He said, if you had kept your mouth closed, it wouldn't have never happened. And from that moment on, my life was turned upside down.
After an encounter with abuse, Tawana Harris found strength from a vile situation.
In 2018, Louisiana ranked 2nd in the nation due to domestic violence related homicides. There were 50 plus. So the work that we're doing, it's making an impact. And we believe in our hearts that we've been called to do this. But we also know that if we have saved one person's life, we've done our job.
Local law enforcement agencies work diligently to counter these crimes, but in many cases, they face major hurdles.
The hardest thing in a domestic violence case is getting the victim to stay cooperating.
Detective Sergeant Dotson outlined a vicious cycle that contributes to this violent epidemic.
Overwhelming percentage of our cases are male suspects, female victims. So that's how we're going to talk about it in this context. He will start calling her back, telling how much he missed her, he loved her, he missed the kids, he won't do it again, he's sorry, I'll never happen again, or call friends, parents, and they'll say, girl, you need to give him a second chance or something, especially if it's their first time. And then she'll take it back. And the instant she make that decision to take him back, the last people she want to talk to is us. So now, not only do we have to run behind the suspect, well, now we got to run behind the victim to make them cooperate. That's why so much emphasis is put on the initial report and initial contact with the victim.
It is here at the Violent Crimes Unit, Major Assaults Division, where detectives solve non-life-threatening crimes against persons, which include domestic violence. For those who may be experiencing forms of domestic abuse, the bleak reality of today doesn't have to be the grim fate others have suffered.
I contemplated suicide many a times. It was the easy way out. Anxiety, depressed. I walked away from school. My hair was falling out, weight loss. I wasn't sleeping at night. And I was saying to myself so often, why am I still living? What's my reason for still living? Look, I'm in prison in my mind. The Butterfly Society is here. We're not going anywhere. And we're here to support you and stand with you and speak for you whenever you can't speak for yourself.
For Connections, I'm Kenyatta Collins.
Are you suffering from substance abuse? Has your addiction taken over your life and left you defeated? Don't give up hope. The New Hope Outpatient Substance Clinic can help you achieve abstinence from addiction. Call 225-926-7911 today and begin your journey towards a better life.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon Griffin, aka Mr. Grip.
I'm Bentley, the Hip Hop Barbershop.
The Hip Hop Barbershop offers the best haircuts.
We service ladies too, Grip.
Ladies, we can do your eyebrows and your cut as well.
We welcome walk-ins, but tell them about the online booking.
That's right. You can book an appointment online as well, or give us a call at 225-252-7773.
We know the flavor, neighbor.
Welcome to The Exchange, a music lover's paradise that specializes in selling vinyl, CDs, and so much more.
I try to have a little everything. DVDs, video games, books, t-shirts, art, vintage electronics, new electronics, you know. I try to have a little something for everybody and a little bit in every price range. I'm always surprised that people call and are still realizing that, you know, there's not a lot of places to buy music anymore, especially on a CD format. You got, several vinyl stores in town. Nobody's opening up CD stores.
The Exchange is owned by Mr. Victor Holliday, whose love for music is what led him to opening this unique shop.
I wanted a new avenue of creative endeavor somewhat. I used to be a hairstylist and I always liked music and just thought it was time to do something different.
Different indeed. The Exchange definitely has an atmosphere unlike any other.
I like to think I got a wide plethora of things, a little of everything and anything for everybody. I mean, jazz and blues is things I like, but you know, I got stuff like rap and R&B and local stuff, Cajun, brass bands, you name it.
To go that extra mile, Victor offers his customers a warranty with each purchase.
People are always leery of buying secondhand or used. I try to go the extra mile and be reasonable and understandable. I mean, if you got a product that you respect enough to put it on shelf, it should go without saying that you stand behind it.
When was the last time that you were in a store and and were able to purchase a CD and a vinyl.
Whoever thought that, records would have made a comeback? If you know anything about audio, it's just, some people say they can't tell the difference between digital, so I guess they're deaf.
So how does this unique record store thrive in today's digital age of music?
Well, a true base to keep your store open would have to be people that actually enjoy music. If you're just buying something to sit it down and wait 30 years to see if you can, next week to see if you can sell it, it's kind of pretty lame for me. I mean, this is a great location. It's, right off of Government Street in Mid-City. Weekends. You'd be surprised. People, go home, pay those bills, and they have some money, and they pop up on Monday.
For Connections, I'm Kenyatta Collins.
Staff and faculty treated my kids like they were their own.
Shiloh is a place where, your kids can come and be themselves.
The staff is very open to things that the parents have to say.
To enroll your child in Shiloh's Early Learning Academy, call 225-343-4734.
Good evening and welcome to Connections with Kenyatta Collins. I am your host. Caring, compassionate, dedicated, and experienced are just a few words that describes my next guest. All rise, because court is now in session, and presiding over today's episode is the Honorable Judge Yvette Alexander of Baton Rouge City Court Division D. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
It is such an honor to be amongst you.
I'm happy to be here.
We have a lot to talk about. You're a pretty important person and you have a lot going on, and you're a history maker. So let's take it bit by bit. First things first, political side. How did you get started?
Well, I went to Grambling State University undergrad, and when I went there, they had this program. It was a pre-law program. So my dad worked at the university, and he was real big on, by the time you were in 9th grade, you had to decide what you want to do. So I looked through the catalog, and I saw this program that was only 2 years. So I told my dad, I want to go in pre-law. And he said, are you sure? I said, yeah. But my thought was, this is an easy way out. It's only 2 years and then I'll be finished. I could just go off into the world. What I didn't realize that my dad was one who always finishes anything you start. So when I did the 2-year program, then he said, we need to look for law schools. Being my dad, nobody ever said any no to him. You just did what he said. So we started looking at law schools, and we found LSU had a program where if you went to an undergrad school for 2 years, then you could transfer to LSU, complete 3 years, and when you graduated, you would get your undergraduate degree and your law degree. So that's how I got started in law.
Okay.
According to my parents, I've always wanted to be a judge. They said when we were young and playing, I would always pretend like I was the judge.
You had the important role. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And that has carried you to now. Now, after all of that, when you moved back to Baton Rouge, you started working with Baton Rouge City Court.
Right.
And that's where you made history.
Yes, that is. I graduated from law school in 1979, and I started working at the state capitol. I worked in the public defender's office. And my grandmother lived in Rayville, and whenever somebody would need a lawyer, she'd always get me to come there, and I'd always represent them. And those small towns sometimes have a small town justice. So I decided then that I wanted to be a judge. So when Baton Rouge had lawsuits to try to get African American judges, they had one for district court and they had one for city court. When the city court race opened up, I was working for Fox McKithen at the time. He was the Secretary of State. He said, you can take a leave of absence with pay and you can go run for the job. So I did that. I went from door to door, house to house, knocking on doors, asking people to please vote for me. There were 3 people in the race, and I won the first time. So it's excited about that.
Very excited. So with you being in the political field, why a judge?
Well, if you want to change anything, whether it's a system, a corporation, or anything, you have to be a decision-making person in that corporation or in that system. So if I want to change the system of court, then I have to be a decision-making person in there. People's complaint about the court is it takes too long and it costs too much. So in city court, we have tried to do innovative things to make it not take as long with your cases and to keep the price low. When you compare our prices of speeding tickets or to file lawsuits with all the city courts in the state, you'll find that we're not the lowest, but we're not the highest. We're right there close to the lowest.
That's interesting.
So I'm happy to be a city court judge. I have been one for 24 years. It'll be 25 years in October. I was history making because I was the first African American female elected to that position and the first African American female to hold the position of chief judge on that court.
Thank you. So when you first started to now, have you noticed any changes in the judicial system?
I have noticed a lot of changes. For one thing, when I started on Baton Rouge City Court, we had 2 African American judges and 3 non-African American judges. Now there are 3 African American judges and 2 non-African American judges. And of course, when you have a majority on the court, you can do innovative things. You can do things that will help people who work. You can do things for people to get jobs who look like me and you, and different things like that. So I've noticed that our load isn't as heavy as it was when I first started, which is a good sign. Okay. Crime is down, so that's very good for our community. And people are abiding by the speeding law, I guess, too, because we don't have as many tickets and we don't have as many criminal citations.
Okay. And now you're looking to transition to Division M.
I am. I am.
How has the campaign journey been?
The campaign is rugged. Look, I ran for judge in 1995. That was 24 years ago. Ever since then, whenever there's an election, I've been unopposed.
Okay.
So many things have changed since I ran in 1995. The biggest change for me is social media. You know, I'm on Facebook, but my children say that I'm a lurker because I don't really post.
You don't post,
a lot. I don't really do a lot. And so on this campaign, you have to be social media. It has to be up front, and you have to really do that. But it's still the same old-fashioned thing. Going to meet people, say hello to them, tell them about yourself, and to let them know. I feel that because I've been on the bench for 24 years, I definitely have the most experience. Judicial experience is something that helps you to go to the next level. You have to be compassionate with mercy, and you also have to be stern when you have to be. Tough, but compassionate with a little bit of mercy into it. So the one thing that I like about campaigning is you get to see different parts of the city. My district is up in the northern part of the city, so I've been up there and I've seen the small towns like Baker and Zachary. They remind me of the town I grew up in, which is Grambling. And when I was up there today at a fish fry, I was just thinking about, even though they're real close to Baton Rouge, they still have that small town atmosphere, and I like that.
You like that?
I like that.
I'm from North Louisiana myself.
Oh, really?
I'm from Winnsboro.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I go through there going home all the time.
We have one stoplight.
One stoplight. That's all you need.
That's all you need. So how do you get volunteers for your campaign?
Well, the way I get volunteers is my friends.
Okay.
We have this little, we decided that we would go through our phones. Every person who's originally volunteered, let's say it's 10 of us right now that have volunteered. So we go through our phones and we call everybody on our phone or text everybody on our phone and say, would you like to volunteer for the campaign? Would you like to help with the campaign? What would you like to do for the campaign? So now we probably have 20 volunteers. Then all 20 of them go through their phone, then it might get to 50 volunteers. All 50 of them go through their phones, and then so that's how we're doing, like kind of a ground campaign, kind of like Barack Obama did.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to do. And the good thing about it is there are young people in the campaign. I consider myself an older person or a seasoned person.
Seasoned.
So there are seasoned people in the campaign, there are young people in the campaign, and there are people in the middle. Even my grandchildren are getting involved in the campaign. My 6-year-old granddaughter to my 1-year-old granddaughter. So
That's a
it's a
blessing.
family thing.
It's a family thing. Since your last time running or campaigning, to now, what are some of the things you've learned aside from social media?
Well, not a lot's changed, Kenyatta. The same campaigns that we ran in the 90s are the same campaigns that you run now. You have to put in a lot of hours. You have to work hard. But the prices of things have really skyrocketed. What it would cost to run a campaign in 95, you could probably run it for 2 or 3 weeks now. You know, the cost is very expensive. The signs cost more, the push cards cost more, the phone banks cost more. Just everything costs more. So the cost is it.
Okay. Anyone that's tuned into our show that would like to make a financial contribution to your campaign, how would they go about that?
Well, they can go to my website, which is Judge Alexander for District Court, and 4 is FOR, not the number 4. So www.Judge Alexander for District Court, and there'll be a link there that you can donate. Also, we take PayPal. There's a link on PayPal, and it's also Judge Alexander for District Court. Or you can mail a check in to our address, which was 1224 North Acadian Thruway West. So.
As the election approaches, I know it's crunch time for you and you have a lot going on, but what are some of the things that you would like to encourage the voters to get them to the polls?
The first thing I want to say is that a lot of people died for us to have the right to vote. You cannot take that just like a hunch or take it where it's not important. One thing that my grandparents, my parents, and I did with my children is teach them the importance of voting. You cannot complain about how bad the community is or how bad government is if you haven't taken a part in it. And that part is to go vote. Voting is something that people should take very, very seriously. There are people who say that the right to vote is a right. Some people say it's a privilege. I think that it's a right and that you should stand up for it. You should never let a voting happen where you live unless you go and vote. It molds everything. The census is the same thing. You need to take the census because that's how they decide where the money's going to. How much money a city's going to get or a parish is going to get is based on how many people are in that parish or in that city. So you have to fill out the census, and that's the same thing for voting. Now, this is a special election, so the turnout is expected to be light, but I'm going to do my best to try to make it a heavy turnout. Early voting is March 21st through 28th, excluding Sunday. Okay. But it's March 21st through March 28th, and the election is April 4th.
April 4th. Once you transition to Division M, because we're speaking that you will, speaking into existence, what's the first change you're looking to make?
Well, this is another thing that I learned from my parents. When you get to a new place, you don't immediately go in there saying, I'm going to change this or I'm going to change that. You have to go in there and watch. You have to see what's going on. You have to enjoy it for a little bit and then weigh your choices. You know, if I go in there and say, I'm going to change this or I'm going to change that, how do I know? This is a new seat for me. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to watch the other judges. I'm going to watch the dockets. And then I'm going to make a decision and decide what I think will be best for Division M. No two judges are probably alike. What might work for Kenyatta might not work for Yvette. Or what might work for Judge Alexander might not work for Ms. Collins, right? So you have to really get in there, get your feet wet, and see what you want to do. Now, I've been in district court before because I was a public defender in district court before I got on the bench. So I know about district court, but they have a brand new, wonderful building over there, and I've never had to practice over there because they built that building since I've been on the bench.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on today. This was a very good interview. It was so good to talk to you.
It was good speaking with you too. You had some great questions.
Well, thank you.
Great questions,
Thank
and
you.
I enjoyed it. I want to ask everyone to please vote Judge Yvette Alexander for District Court, Division M. If you live in Baker, Zachary, Central, Greenwell Springs, Cheneyville, Slaughter, Monticello, Oak Villa, Villa Del Rey, Sherwood Forest, please vote for me. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, I'm Brandon Griffin, aka Mr. Grip.
I'm Bentley, the Hip Hop Barbershop.
The Hip Hop Barbershop offers the best haircuts.
We service ladies too, Grip.
Ladies, we can do your eyebrows and your cut as well.
We welcome walk-ins, but tell them about the online booking.
That's right, you can book an appointment online as well, or give us a call at 225-252-7773.
We know the flavor, neighbor.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gerard Robinson, Sr., pastor of the McEwen Baptist Church, and I want to invite you and your family to join the McEwen family in our worship experience. We have a number of ministries and outreach programs that's sure to strengthen your walk with Christ. I'm asking you to take the next step in your walk with Christ by joining us at the McEwen Baptist Church. We look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms, Connections with Kenyatta Collins. Until next time, I encourage you to enjoy your week. Always be aware of your surroundings, and whatever you do, wash your hands thoroughly. Don't let any virus catch you slipping. Have a good one.